Gordon was sulking. Sir Topham had made him shunt trucks after the big blue engine had blew past the station, which caused him to run out of water and caused confusion and delay for the passengers. D261, or Bowler as most people know him as, took over Gordon's express duties, and Henry assisted with delivering the passengers to the connection stop. One day, Gordon complained bitterly. "Dirty trucks from dirty sidings. It's disgraceful." "Well, bossy boiler, if you hadn't been a stuck-up, then you would not be a common tank engine now, would you?" Gordon said nothing, and remained respectfully silent. Then Stenley, the Bluebell engine, arrived. He was taking tourists to see the countryside. "Lovely day, isn't it, Gordon?" "It should be lovely if I was pulling the express." Stepney examined the situation carefully. "Take my tip, Gordon. If you really want to be useful, look at what you have. Then you'll be rewarded." And Stepney puffed away. Gordon said nothing. He sulked as he resumed shunting trucks. Bowler, meanwhile, was having a grand time. The passengers were enjoying the marvelous sights of Sodor as the diesel climbed Gordon's hill. "That'll put Gordon to shame," he said with a smirk, but Bowler knew he was only joking to himself. Then he arrived at the station, a few minutes ahead of schedule. "Fine work by me, if I do say so myself. Let's not get carried away. After all, we must wait for Henry's connection this evening." The guard blew his whistle, and D261 rolled away. At the yards, Thomas and Percy were teasing Gordon. "Now that is hard work for a change," Thomas smirked. "I thought you liked this as quiet work," chimed Percy as Gordon ignored both engines with disgust. "Take my advice, scrap your tender and have a nice bunker." Gordon stayed silent all afternoon. He shunted trucks where they needed to go. He found it dull and repetitive, but there was nothing the proud engine could do. That evening, Bowler was on his way to the junction where he was to meet with Henry. When he arrived, D261 had an idea. "Perhaps if I could get to the boat without having to wait for Henry." Bowler set off, not realizing what would happen next. The evening was cool and crisp, but soon it grew colder. Bowler tried to surge to the next station, but then it happened. Bowler moved a few yards before he came to a stop. His driver was not impressed. "Your injector has failed, most likely from the cold. We'll have to get help." Bowler's driver went back to warn the station master at the yards. Gordon was finishing shunting when the yard foreman informed Gordon's driver about Bowler, and that Gordon was to take Bowler and his train the rest of the way before the boat set sail. "Be careful, Gordon. Don't want to end up like James did all those years ago." "Don't worry. At least I won't be hiding in tunnels while I rescue the express." Henry was cross as Gordon chuckled away to find D261 and the express. D261, however, was waiting on the main line, cold and miserable. He wished he hadn't been so silly, until he heard a very familiar whistle. Gordon had arrived and saw the sad expression on the diesel's face. "I do owe you an apology, D261. You did well pulling the express in my absence." "It's all right, Gordon. I will admit, it was getting a bit tiring doing the train on my own." Both engines decided to start over fresh, and Gordon, wasting no time, coupled to Bowler and took him and the train all the way to the boat just in time. And not a moment too soon. Thank goodness. The passengers won't have to worry about getting home now. Gordon took Bowler to the works. They stayed the night at the work sheds. It wasn't until the next morning Bowler's injector had finally been mended and was able to head back to the yard. There, he could see Sir Topham speaking to Gordon. "Gordon, I heard you rescued D261 from an awkward predicament. You are a really useful engine. As a reward, you will be allowed to pull the express again." "Thank you, sir. I won't let you down again. I also heard you apologized to D261. That is how matters should always be resolved between each engines on my railway." Gordon had to agree. Since his rescue, Bowler and Gordon have become good friends. Bowler will occasionally take the express when Gordon is ill or away, and Gordon will shunt trucks when he is most likely needed. So although both engines did set aside their differences, I think that Gordon will learn to think twice about other engines taking the express in the future. Don't you?